Hey everybody, it's George Trombley. This is Japanese from Zero, and today we're going to be going through Japanese from Zero book 4, lesson 8, some of the grammar in there, a really powerful grammar when you get through it. All right, this is how to do something. Okay, first we're going to go through how you make this grammar, because it's really important to know what verb type you're using, because it's not the same for every verb. So let's talk about regular verbs, which is any verb that doesn't end in a ru in its dictionary form, any verb. But sometimes they can end in a ru. Sometimes they can. Okay, here we go. So what is this verb? Let's just test ourselves. What do you think this is? I'm going to give you just a second.
行きます。行きます。
It means to go, or I will go. Okay, and if we want to say how to go, we take the E form of the base, we drop this mas, right? Or if we're going from iku to go, we say iki to the E form, and we add kata.
行き方。行き方。
And that means how to go. Ikikata. All right? Next, what is this?
使います。
Oh, where's my furigana? Where's my furigana? Oh, eventually it'll show up.
使います。
Tsukaimasu means to use, or I will use it. If you want to say how to use something, you make the E form. Tsukai.
使い方。
This is normally tsukau. I probably should have put the dictionary forms here too to show you how that works, but tsukau becomes tsukai. It's E form plus kata, that's the form.
使い方。
How to use, okay? And we're going to use these in sentences and you'll see how they're used. It's really, really powerful.
泳ぎます。
What does this mean?
泳ぎます。
Oyogu means to swim, okay? So to swim. If we want to say how to swim,
泳ぎ方。泳ぎ方。
how to swim. E form plus kata. All right? Very good. All right, now let's move on to iru edu verbs. What are iru edu verbs? I'm going to say this every video. They always end in ru. And the symbol right before it, the hiragana symbol right before it, the sound right before it, is always an E form or an E form. Okay? Does that mean that every verb that has E form or E form hiragana plus edu, if it rhymes with iru or edu at the end, does that mean that every one of those is an iru edu form or iru edu verb? No. Because regular verbs can also have that. Okay? Regular verbs can do anything. It's the specialized verbs that have limitations, okay? So in this form, we just drop the ru. For example.
食べる。
See, it would have been smarter if I went with the dictionary form in the prior one too.
食べる。
So what do we do here? 食べる.
食べる。
To eat, to say the way to eat.
食べ方。食べ方。
How to eat. 食べ方.
食べ方。
Okay, moving on.
教える。
Oshieru means to teach or to tell.
教える。
A lot of times people will say, 名前を教えてください. Please teach me your name. And that's weird English, right? We don't ever say, teach me your name or teach me your age. But Japanese people will say that because they're really saying, tell me your age, okay?
教える。
All right. And the way to teach
教え方。
or how you teach, how I teach is 教え方. All right. Just drop the ru, add the kata. Okay.
考える。
Who knows what this is?
考える。
Kangaeru. This one you will hear if you propose something to a friend and they don't know if they really want to do it.
考える。
You might hear a version of it that's slightly different, but the verb will be in there. Kangaeru. To think. Yes. I'm going to think. Right? Kangaeru. To think. A lot of times you hear kangaetoku. I'll go ahead and give it a thought. Like, I'll think about it for you there, kind of. All right? So the way of thinking, how you think.
考え方。考え方。
If you understand that this kanji right here, this kata, means method. So it's like method of thinking, method of teaching, method of eating, okay?
考え方。
So how to think, okay? Or how you think. Remember, Japanese verbs are neutral. So this can mean how he thinks, how she thinks, how I think, how we think, how they think, how Japanese people think. Whatever is the topic of the sentence, is inherited by the verb. Whatever we are talking about, the verb inherits. Does that make sense? Until we change it, until we specify something different. All right. So we've covered regular verbs and iru verbs. But what about irregular verbs? How many irregular verbs are there according to Japanese from Zero teaching, from our books? How many are there? I'll take the true answer too. How many actual irregular verbs are there? Two. Okay, Toasty says 2. All right. Now, it depends on how we classify irregular verbs, okay? So there could be just 2. There could be just 2. In Japanese from Zero, we kind of say there's 3 because aru. Aru doesn't go to awanai. It doesn't, some of its conjugations don't follow the rules. It goes to nai and nakata instead of awa nakata or anakata. It drops everything and just goes to ra, nai, okay? So that one I also classify as irregular. But really, there's only 2 official irregular ones, and it's suru, to do, and kuru, to come. But you could be a stickler and say, well, every verb that ends in a suru is actually an irregular verb. So there are thousands of verbs there. You know, did you know that irregular is the most common type of verb? Okay, I'll give you that. It's possible. All right. So moving on. Kuru. Kuru, which means what? To come. But how do you say the way to come? Like, I don't know how to come here. Like, oh, he doesn't know how to come here. How would you say that? How do you say the way to come? It's not dropping a ru. It really is all about how do you make the must form and then drop the must. If you know how to get to the must form, you get there. Basically, you take the E stem. Okay? So let's see who got it. Anyone got it? You have kikikata, chewachong. No, chewachong. It's not. Kikikata would mean how to ask or how to listen. Kikikata is not correct. Okay. Putting the kanji, tricky. I'm not, do it, okay? I want to see that in hiragana. If you put the kanji, I don't know what reading you're thinking. Give it to me. Give it back. Come on, guys. No cheating with the kanji alone. So Cheo-chon, good try though. It was a good guess to say kikata, but no. DeWitt K, you got it. Kikata.
Kikata.
All right. Kikata. Good job. Everyone that got it, good job. All right. The how to come. Now, not trying to sidetrack, but just always remember that if you, like, I would never say to someone, let's say we're both at school. Okay. We're both at school and there's an event at my house. And I invite a cute girl to go. And she's like, yes, I'll go. And I'll say, do you know how to come to my place? Do you know how to come to my house? I wouldn't say kikata. In Japanese, it's very strict here in this interpretation here. You would say ikikata. Do you know how to go? Because we're not there. The only person that can say kikata is the person that is in the place. Okay. Like we mess this up in English so bad when we say, like, when you call her like, daughter, and she's like, coming. No, it's going. It's really, you're going. You're not coming. You can't come anywhere. Does that make sense? There's no coming. Oh, I hope we don't do a remix, but you see how that works? You have to be in the spot. So the person that talks about how to come is at the house. If I was talking to that cute girl on the phone, I would say, I'll tell you how to come here. Kikata. Okay. I wouldn't say ikikata because I'm there. Okay. All right. Moving on.
Suru.
Suru means to do. And how would we say how to do? How to do. Shikata. Yes, you all got it. Shikata. Shikata. Have you ever heard this? Shikatanai ne. Shikatanai. And it gets translated as it's hopeless. It really means there's no way to do it. Like it can't be done. It's shikatanai. It's hopeless. Okay? Shikatanai. Now I want to give you a bonus one. Yarikata. So if you want to say how to do, there's shikata and yarikata. Okay? Yarikata. Both mean how to do. Okay. Just keep that in mind. All right. Now, it's important to know, we talked about that there are hundreds of suru verbs, right? They officially become pseudo-verbs at that point instead of really calling them an irregular verb.
勉強する
What does this mean?
勉強する
If you don't get this, guys, this is basics right here. To study. All right. So how would you say how to study? Now this is tricky. There is a how do you say how to study? I wish the stream was like exactly on time, but because it's a delayed thing, I always have to wait a couple seconds. What is okay, we've got 勉強し方, which is wrong. I think your name is Mare. I can't read that kanji. 勉強の仕方, BJJ Posts, you nailed it. Everyone that said 勉強し方, good try. But you must say 勉強の仕方. Okay? It's the way to study.
勉強の仕方
How to study. When you're doing it with a pseudo verb, or, by the way, やり方 is the same. 勉強のやり方. How to study. You need to have the no. Okay? That's the rule. Okay? All right. Now, it's not just that it's for the pseudo verbs. Like if we were saying the way to my house, 私の家までの, that's the up until my house no 来方. Okay? How to come up to my house. Okay? So it's because 来方becomes a noun. This is more than a verb conjugation. It's just a noun. If you say 泳ぎ方, okay? 泳ぎ方 means how to swim. You can do something with that. You could say 泳ぎ方が知らない. 泳ぎ方がわからない. I don't know how to swim. Okay? 泳ぎ方が難しい. How to swim is difficult. Okay? All right. Or like, I will teach you how to do something. Like, 泳ぎ方を教えます. I will teach you how to swim. やり方を教えます. I will tell you how to do it. Okay? That's why this is powerful, because you're essentially taking a verb and making it into a noun, and then you could do something with that noun. All right? All right. And just remember, you must have this no here. All right. Now let's do some sentences. Get ready. Every sentence that I introduce from now on, everyone in the stream, everyone that's watching, try to tell me what it is. Here we go.
このゲームのやり方を知っていますかこのゲームのやり方を知っていますか
I want you to imagine the situation. One of your friends has a phone in their hand and they have a game on it, a mobile game. And they say to you,
このゲームのやり方を知っていますか
このゲームのやり方を知っていますかこのゲームのやり方を知っていますか Yes. Do you know how to play this game? You all got it. Very good. Do you know how to play this game?
新幹線の切符の買い方がわかりません。
Yes. Michael and Mare, or please tell me how to read that name. I don't know how to buy a bullet train ticket. This is very possible to happen to you if you go to Japan. You're like, I don't know. And I'll tell you where you do it. Look for the green window. There's like a Midori no Madoguchi. It says Midori no Madoguchi. I think in Japanese I think they call it in English the green window, but it's Midori no Madoguchi in the JR station. Okay. And there's like a line you have to get into and all that stuff. And you go up and you tell them I'm going from here to here. And you can ask options, and there's a guy, and I want you to watch when you're in these places, the guy or the girl that's doing the ticket thing. It's like he's like a magician. He's like, no smoking? Yep. Okay. All right. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions. Like, do you want open seating if it's available? And he'll say things like, oh, there's no more assigned seating. Would you like open seating? You're going to have to be ready for that. But they mostly will be able to handle English. But I would ask you to try it in Japanese, okay? So.
新幹線の切符の買い方がわかりません。
Oh, Murray. Okay, so Murray. I see it now. Thank you. So Mure. Okay. All right. Moving on. So I don't know how to buy a ticket for Shinkansen. That's a weird way to make the English, but I don't know how to buy bullet train tickets is really what we're saying here. All right, next one, guys.
正しいお寿司の食べ方を教えてください。
Another possible thing that could happen in Japan.
正しいお寿司の食べ方を教えてください。
Because you might be like grabbing the sushi like this, or you're shoveling it into your mouth. Like, it's possible. I remember when I went to the Philippines and I was staying in the barrio and they eat with their hands. And I think I don't know if that's normal throughout the entire Philippines, but they like scoop up stuff in their hand and just eat it. I don't know if it's because I was in like the poorest of the poor barrio, where my dad sent me to learn about money. I really had the best time of my life in the Philippines and I got to go back. But I actually don't know if I don't know if that's the proper tabe kata in the Philippines. But how do you eat sushi?
正しいお寿司の食べ方を教えてください。
So this is not just, Jason, this is not just I don't know how to eat sushi. That would be sushi no tabekata ga wakaranai. That would be wakaranai, wakarimasen. I don't know how. This is asking them to do something. It's please tell me or teach me. And what are we teaching with this O? We're marking everything before the O is the object of this request. Okay, this is the object marker, right? So we're marking this object. The simple object is tabekata, how to eat. But we're modifying it with one, an E adjective, tadashi, and osushi no. It's not just a way to eat, it's a sushi no, a way to eat sushi. But we've also then modified that whole thing to say, correct way of eating sushi, please teach me, all right? And if you take these sentences, if you're ever confused about a sentence, 9 times out of 10, just start from the back. Watch. Kudasai, please. Oshiete, teach how to eat sushi properly. See how that works? You can take a sentence and reverse it and get the proper English. Because Japanese ends with a verb always, right? In English, the only thing that's going to be in the front that's same in English is going to be the watashi if we had it, right? I don't know how. But if we had the I here, that's the only thing. And then we just, after you say the person doing the thing, jump to the back of the sentence and start translating.
正しいお寿司の食べ方を教えてください。
So tell me the proper way of eating sushi. Please teach me how to properly eat sushi, okay? Do Japanese people start reading from the back? They do not. They do not. Now in modern Japan, they do not. However, if you go back, and this freaked me out too when I first saw it, but I was reading a newspaper article that I don't know where I saw it, but I saw this article that was like a scan of a newspaper. It was right after the war, and it was about Potsdam. Now, Potsdam is where Japan signed the treaty to end the war, right? They signed their surrender, right? I believe that's where it was. Or something happened big in Potsdam, and the newspaper, it was all backwards. It was like not Potsdamu. It was like mu da, and I was like tsu what? I was really confused because back then headlines did go the other direction. It went this direction, right? So they used to do that, but in modern Japan, everything is like this, except for like like magazines and newspapers. Like a lot of times, just like it'll be top to bottom and then left to right. So it'll be top to bottom. So they're reading like this. They're reading like A, B, C, D, E, F, G down, and then they move over line, and then like so it's if you ever have a Japanese comic book, they start backwards, right? They're flipped from backwards is like. From our perspective, it's backwards, right? But even in a comic book, though, it isn't going to be up and down a lot of times. It's going to be this way, like normal, like this way, right? So there's a variety. It's a style choice nowadays, though. All right, moving on. What do we have another sentence? Yes, we do. Here we go.
今、子供に運転の仕方を教えています。
Now, you guys are, I'm assuming, young. Some of you are young, so this might be weird. But what is this? As a parent might say this.
今、子供に運転の仕方を教えています。今、子供に運転の仕方を教えています。
So look, let's go back and take this reverse sentence. Now, I'm going to say this thing again that is like the thing you always need to have in your head. Always when you're looking at a Japanese sentence, okay? If somebody is saying a statement and there is no watashi in there, there's no anything in there. You don't know who, like in this, look, where is the person doing the thing? It's not listed, right? By default in Japanese, when a statement is said and there's no assumed topic and nor topic, it is I. It is always watashi. By default, it is watashi. If you remember that, you will almost never lose the topic, okay? If someone says, whatever they say, if there was no watashi, it's about themselves. If they were talking about another person prior to that and it was established, then it's about that person. That's how it works. But when you're lacking any person that did the object, it is them. It's a statement about them. It's what they think. It's what they did. Now, if it's a question, it's always assumed you if there's no understanding. Desu ka? It's always to you because who else are they talking to, right? But if we were talking about your mother or your girlfriend and then you said, nansai desu ka? How old are they now? How old is the person we were just talking about? But if there is lack of a topic or a person that we're talking about, it is you. Wakarimasu ka? If I say wakarimasu ka, do I mean does your mother understand? Does she understand? Does he understand? No. In lack of a topic, wakarimasu ka means do you understand by default? And if they respond, wakarimasu. Lack of a topic, actually there is a topic, it was you defined by my question. It's yes, I understand. I understand. Okay? If you constantly add in these, and this is like, you guys are level 4, so I know you already know this. I assume you already know this, but it's always good to remember these things. Do not pop in those watashis and anatas unless you really need to clarify. Yeah, watashi ga. Well, I know as for me, like maybe you were talking about someone else before, and now you want to make sure, demo, but, watashi no hou ga, but as for me, on my side, then you're going to use the watashi. When you're clarifying and making sure that they understand, I'm now switching lanes to talk about myself, or I'm comparing myself to someone else. That's when you use watashi. Or when you're saying possession, watashi no, right? You need the no, and it needs to be connected to something. So that's why you use the watashi. All right. So what does this mean?
今、子供に運転の仕方を教えています。
So let's go from reverse. Who is doing the verb here? Because it's not stated and because we're in a textbook, there's no context, it's I. What is I doing? I, 教えています, am teaching what? Marked by the O. 運転の仕方, how to drive. Let's further modify this. Let's give some more information. To my child right now. I am teaching how to drive to my child right now. And more naturally, I'm teaching my child how to drive right now. I'm teaching my kid how to drive right now.
今、子供に運転の仕方を教えています。
Okay? I'm teaching my kid how to drive a car right now. We assumed a car. It could have been a tractor. We don't know. All right. Now we're going to end on just a conversation. It's a lopsided conversation, but it's a possible one. Here we go. What does this mean?
先生、この漢字の読み方を教えて。
Hang on, before we answer this, Toasty says, I've also been noticing Japanese people state the subject after the main sentence, like, 今行かないといけない, which means I have to go. 私は I. Yeah, that's okay. They do that to make sure you understand they mean me. Because if someone says to you, 今行かないといけない, think about that. That could mean them, and it could mean you. That's a really good example of how it's not always a question or a statement that does that. So they're letting them know, not us together, me. Oh, gotta go. I mean me is what they're saying. We gotta go. Sorry, I said we by mistake. Gotta go. Me, I mean. 行かないといけない. 私は. You're not coming. That's what they're letting them know. All right. All right. Please teach me how to read this kanji, teacher. Says Chewa Jong Chewa. So, sensei, この漢字の読み方. Please teach me how to read this kanji. Very good.
先生、この漢字の読み方を教えて。
Now, Let me ask a question, guys. Is language all about the rules of language? The answer is no. I'm just going to give you the answer right away. It's not about just the rules of language, right? It's culture. What's wrong with this sentence? Someone please tell me what's wrong with this sentence, because if you don't, the teacher's going to tell you next. Anyone want to hazard a guess as why this is really not a good sentence, even though grammatically it's very correct? No must form. How would you do a must form in a command? Think about it. So what if? So let's add must to it. Sensei, kono kanji no yomi kata o oshiete imasu. That means the teacher. I'm assuming they say sensei. Sensei, kono, or teacher. I'm teaching this way of writing kanji. No, that doesn't make any sense. Te kudasai. Yes. There's no kudasai. You don't just say, yo, teach. Tell me this kanji. You go, teacher, would you please teach me? So what does the teacher say? Oh, dang it. Ignore that you saw that.
その前に、先生への話し方を勉強しましょう。その前に、先生への話し方を勉強しましょう。
So let's break this down. その前に, before that, let's study what? 話し方, way of speaking. 先生への to a teacher. Remember earlier that I said you need to have this no in front of the hanashikata, this hanashikata. Look up here, it's also here because hanashikata and yomikata are both nouns. If you're going to modify them with something, you need another. If you're going to modify with another noun, you need to have a noun. I'm sorry, a no, right? So sensei e means towards a teacher, no hanashikata. Let's study how to speak towards a teacher before that. Okay? Now, what is this shimasho doing? Why is he saying it this way? Or he, or well, I guess it's a he.
その前に、先生への話し方を勉強しましょう。
It really is just like a soft command. These shimashos, which normally are volitional, like, hey, let's do this thing. Because obviously the teacher doesn't need to do it. But it's a soft way of saying, hey, before that, why don't you study? Why don't we go ahead and have you, like, that's what the we does. How about we do this thing? We do it in English too, where we soften it, right? So that's what it's doing. It's softening it. Okay? So before that, let's learn how to talk to the teacher, right?
その前に、先生への話し方を勉強しましょう。
Right. It's really not do it together here. It's really more like, how about before that, you learn how to talk to the teacher? It's just a little bit more soft, all right? And then he continues.
ちょっと聞き方が良くないですね。ちょっと聞き方が良くないですね。
So, ちょっと聞き方, here's that 聞き方 that we were making a mistake earlier for 聞き方, which means how to come. This is how to ask, way of asking. Ga, what about it? Ga, yokunai desu ne. It's not good, is it? It's really not good. Okay? This chotto and this ne are also both softeners. If he just said, 聞き方が良くないです, or 聞き方が良くない, it would be stiffer. But we've already established here originally that the teacher's being soft, being a little bit nice. Chotto in front of a sentence. ちょっと時間がないです. I really don't have time right now. It's just a softener. The chotto doesn't really mean I don't have a little bit of time. It has nothing to do with little. It's just, it's like adding an in front. It kind of gives that vibe. 聞き方が良くないですね. This ne is not making it rhetorical. It's not asking, is it? It's not none of that. Even though we've learned that ne can do that. Here's just softening it. そうですね. Yeah. Yeah, そうですね. ちょっと聞き方が良くないですね.
ちょっと聞き方が良くないですね。
Na is manly version of ne sometimes. Thank you for teaching Kanji 101. Yes, he could have said ちょっと聞き方が良くないですな, but then it becomes a little bit informal. It's not as polite. ですな. Okay? Someone's watching anime. Now, not to speak ill of anime for learning, but it is not the real world. And there are two classifications of anime. One I just call spazzy anime, where it's all the memes. Oni-chan, it's all of those like, it's all that. Please, no more remixes. This is a bad video for the remixes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, sometimes I have this contest where I let people remix all the things that I do, and they take things out of context, and it's sometimes funny. But this one's, I'm giving too many easy things this time. So anyway, spazzy anime is my least favorite type of anything. I absolutely am cringed out by watching this fan service style anime. It's I hate it. I gotta be honest. What I do love though is anime as a way of telling a story. And there's amazing anime that isn't spazzy but tells a story. Like I'm gonna throw an oldie but a goodie, but Death Note. Such a good anime, right? And it's told using anime as the medium, as the method to teach it. And it's nice. All right. Hey, yes, tangent. Yes, there's always tangent's my middle name. Humor anime can be done right. Humor anime is fine, but a lot of times I think a lot of humor anime, let's talk about like One Punch Man. Hilarious. It's not spazzy really. It's just funny, right? So maybe there's a third type. Maybe we have like classically good humor anime, right? A comedy anime. Let's go with that. Okay. But when you're talking about these anime where they have like people that are twisting their words, adding nyan after everything and just being cute beyond be like saccharine level cute where it's just too cute. It's not, I can't handle it. That's just me. Look, hey, to each his own, man. Like I watch a bunch of things that you probably would never watch. All right. I don't know. Like some of you guys are bringing up anime. I don't know. I don't know these animes. I barely watch them. Mostly because it took me, I just turned 50 like the other day. It took me maybe 48 years, or let's deduct 12 because I didn't know about Japan's existence until then. But it took me a long time before I even realized why I didn't watch a lot of anime. It's because I was watching too much of the spazzy stuff. It would come up like too childish, it's too much. And people would like recommend an anime to me and I'd watch it in the first few minutes. I'd be like, oh, it's just too, like, what's that one? No Life, No Game. I couldn't keep watching. Number one, it was too complicated. It was just way too, like, without subtitles, it was like way too high level, the wording that he was using. I didn't even understand. I was like, my brain was breaking. But on top of that, it was that little sister was just too much yuck for me. Too much. All right, guys, let's move on. So what does this mean?
ちょっと聞き方が良くないですね。ちょっと聞き方が良くないですね。
Yeah, the way you asked it is not so good. ... Okay. All right. That's it, guys. My last screen is completely messed up.